CM Punk has taken shots at All Elite Wrestling, but first, a huge dream match is set for this January. Bryan Danielson is eyeing a rematch with Kazuchika Okada, and this time he wants it to take place at the Tokyo Dome. Their previous encounter at this year's AEW New Japan Pro-Wrestling Forbidden Door event was nothing short of historic, though it left Bryan with a broken arm courtesy of an elbow drop from the Rainmaker. With that said, Bryan managed to secure a win by making Okada tap to a modified LeBell lock, but the rivalry is far from over. Fast forward to the October 25th AEW Dynamite event, where they clashed again, but in tag team action with partners Orange Cassidy and Claudio Castagnoli. The match didn't end well for Bryan, who took hits from both Cassidy and Okada, which in storyline exacerbated an existing injury to his orbital bone, a legit injury he suffered 1 week prior. During the NJPW Power Struggle event this weekend, a video aired showing Bryan bandaged eye and all, laying out a challenge to Okada for a rematch. He's not just looking for a win, but he aims to break his opponent's arm and put an end to Okada's signature move. The challenge was laid out for New Japan's biggest show of the year, Wrestle Kingdom, which goes down on January 4th from the Tokyo Dome. Meanwhile, Claudio Castagnoli, a fellow member of the Blackpool Combat Club, also has a score to settle with Okada following the injury to Bryan, though the date for their showdown is still up in the air. As for Bryan, his ongoing recovery is projected to keep him out of action for the rest of the year, with there seemingly being hope that he'll be back in action come early January. And next, a top New Japan star has teased a WWE debut. Last night, WWE would host the Crown Jewel Premium Live event from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a show that saw a majority of champions retain their titles on the night. One of the champions that left with their hands raised was Seth Rollins, who managed to overcome a tough challenge from Drew McIntyre to secure the win. However, it seems that the Scotsman isn't the only British native that Rollins looks to defeat, as a social media interaction has led to speculation on a potential major debut. Current IWGP United States Heavyweight Champion Will Ospreay, who is coming off a title defense of his own against Shota Umino at NJPW Power Struggle, would take to X last night to share the graphic that confirmed Seth's win over Drew, with him simply adding some eye emojis to the post. This led to a response from the WWE World Champ, with him telling the Englishman that the water is warm over in WWE, with him apparently looking to tempt Ospreay to sign for the company. It's a well-known fact that Will Ospreay's current New Japan Pro-Wrestling contract expires in February 2024, and it looks like they won't be able to compete with the contract offered from the larger companies, with him recently declaring that he's open to all options, including WWE, with him seemingly having his eyes or eye emojis on Seth Rollins. But do you think Will Ospreay will end up in WWE to challenge Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, or will he head over to All Elite Wrestling? Let me know in the comments down below. Next up, a new champion has been crowned in WWE. As mentioned, the majority of champions would keep hold of their belts at Crown Jewel last night, with Seth Rollins retaining his world title against Drew McIntyre, whilst Rhea Ripley won her respective four-way match for the Women's World Championship. Io Sky would beat Bianca Belair to hold on to her WWE Women's title, and finally Roman Reigns of course overcame LA Knight to be still undisputed Universal Champion. With that said, the show would see one title change, this when Rey Mysterio put his United States Championship on the line against Logan Paul. After yet another impressive performance from the social media influencer, who at one point prevented the Hall of Famer from landing on his head, Paul was able to use the brass knucks to knock out Mysterio for the 1-2-3, securing his first ever title win in WWE. The win would be followed by a backstage interview for social media, where Logan would tease that he will soon be appearing on WWE television more, transitioning from his part-time status, this now that he's got gold around his waist. But what do you make of WWE's decision to give the United States Championship to Logan Paul? Let me know in the comments down below. And next, a major WWE return has taken place. Elsewhere at Crown Jewel, the show would see Io Sky put a WWE Women's Championship on the line against Bianca Belair, and as discussed earlier in the video, the champion would retain. It wasn't without a little outside help, however, as during the match, an appearance from Kairi Sane would allow Sky to take advantage of the situation, securing a moonsault pin for the 1-2-3. This whilst Bianca was already at a numbers disadvantage due to Bayley's presence at ringside. Kairi would would leave WWE in July 2020, with her returning to her native Japan after allowing her contract to expire, this before returning to Stardom to win the Artist of Stardom title, this after becoming the first IWGP Women's Champion in New Japan Pro-Wrestling. However, Cena's contract with Bushiroad would come to an end earlier this year, with recent reports revealing that she'd signed with WWE, and more recently that she was added to internal rosters, with this now being confirmed. Next up, a top AEW star has hit back at Ric Flair on social media. Ric Flair would recently make his AEW debut as a gift from Tony Khan to the retiring Sting, with the Nature Boy later signing a 2-year deal with the company, which includes a sponsorship with his Woo energy drink. Speaking with Variety this week, Flair would discuss one of the things that he hopes to do in All Elite Wrestling going forward, that being a promo battle with current AEW World Champion MJF, somebody known for his oratory exhibition. And Flair would say, "I can still talk better than anybody. They'll find out if they turn me loose. I'm dying to go one-on-one with MJF, man. It will get a rating too. Let's talk, young man." MJF, never one to back down from a challenge, responded on social media with a reply that generated some laughs, with him instead suggesting they go one-on-one in a Buried Alive match, clearly a jab at the age of the Nature Boy, and a taste of the Tony would take with the two to go toe-to-toe on the mic. For now, however, MJF's focus remains on Jay White, whom he's scheduled to defend and win back his AEW World Championship belt at the same time at AEW Full Gear. As for Flair, his in-ring wrestling days in AEW are still a question mark, albeit an unlikely possibility. During a recent interview, he mentioned that while he doesn't anticipate AEW giving him the green light to wrestle, he certainly wouldn't shy away if given the chance. With that said, I think we can rule out a Buried Alive match with MJF. And next, a former WWE World Champion has seemingly retired. Now let's get back to the events of WWE Crown Jewel, a show that saw 16-time World Champion John Cena battle rising Bloodline star Solo Sikoa in singles action. Unfortunately for Cena, his streak of no televised singles wins since 2018 would continue when a flurry of Samoan spikes was enough to put him away for the pinfall, with Sikoa grabbing the biggest victory of his young career so far. The last would be the catalyst for a series of events that have led to speculation that John Cena is now officially done when it comes to in-ring competition. So let's break it down. Firstly, Michael Cole, who was on commentary for the bout, would ask if Solo Sikoa is the man who'd retired John Cena before declaring his career as the greatest of all time. John would then be left alone in the ring to seemingly say his goodbyes to the WWE Universe, this whilst no music played to allow him to take in the moment. And the final piece of the retirement puzzle came on Instagram, where Cena is known for his cryptic posts, with him sharing an image of footballer David Beckham in a PSG jersey, this being the club where the former England captain hung up his boots for good. All of this combined likely confirms that at least for now, Cena is now retired from pro wrestling, putting over a future top star Solo Sikoa on the way out. Another thing that'll be interesting to track is how this win for Solo Sikoa boosts his career going forward, with it seeming that WWE have big plans. Next up, CM Punk has taken a shot at All Elite Wrestling. Whilst his future in wrestling is unknown, CM Punk continues to pursue a path in MMA commentary, with him participating in the broadcast of this weekend's Cage Fury Fighting Championships event in Tunica, Mississippi. However, the night had its share of pro wrestling references that didn't go unnoticed. At one point, a fellow commentator brought up the idea of Punk having his own show, with Punk having booking duties, a reference to AEW Collision. Punk, with a dose of humour, responding that such a thought has never crossed anybody's mind, though he hinted that letting him do the booking usually makes for an engaging show. Later in the night, Cage Fury CEO Rob Haydack joined the commentary duo, with eagle-eyed fans noticing the WWE logo that was sitting in his suit jacket, though this emblem went unmentioned during their conversation. Despite whispers of Punk proposing a WWE return, it seems WWE isn't quite warming up to the idea just yet, or at least they don't feel the need to make such a move whilst business is going so well. With that said, they are open to it in the future. Interestingly, Impact Wrestling, soon to be TNA Wrestling, seems more receptive to the idea of welcoming Punk back, due to him arguably being a bigger name than the entire company. This option was subtly referenced during last night's commentary when John Morgan called the night's MMA showcase total non-stop action. Whilst the references are likely CFFC's attempts to get people talking and to potentially tune into the show to catch more more jabs and teases, it's hard to take anything away from it given multiple companies that were referenced. However, it's fun to track given the Second City Saints' hiatus from the wrestling business as we try to figure out his next play. And before you go, make sure you check out 10 shocking Roman Reigns facts that WWE wants you to forget.